What's going on?
I can just see you guys. Is that the deal?
We can.
Just trying to connect to Facebook now.
Oh, here we are. Oh, yeah. We're there, but you're like, oh my God, everything's happening like 2 seconds past that. All right. So
I think we have the technology.
let's have a look and see if anyone's actually coming online.
Am I able to see that or not?
We can see each other. Oh, there's me drinking 5 seconds ago.
Don't look at that. That's a delay.
Yeah.
All right. Have we got anyone looking? Here we go. Hi, Vanessa Watson and Ness Helen, I think.
Hi, guys.
Oh, no, we have 42 people live already.
Yeah. Listening to the brilliance of that.
Look at this. We've got a Yeza from Cooper. We've got a Woo from Tanya.
Oh, that's right. You got to turn your volume down there.
Yep,
all right. Cool.
Hey.
So should we answer some questions?
Yeah, look, we've got a bunch of questions already from y'all, which is great.
Hold on.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Eskimo Joe live feed.
Brave New World. I'm going to put this on gallery view.
Okay.
But yeah, keep going.
So we're going to start by answering a couple of questions that people have already sent through. Stu, why don't you read out some questions and then we will start the answering.
Okie dokie. So this one is from Ness Helen. No one does cool hair like Cav. I think we can all agree on that.
It's a rhetorical question,
Perhaps
that one.
Lyle Lovett, maybe. But my question is, when will you be releasing a new album? It's a good question.
Well, we are attempting to release one song, and if that goes,
so chill out.
So if that goes well and people respond well to it, then we'll record some more songs, and the next thing we'll have an album. But no plans for an actual album yet. But we've got more new songs ready to write.
Cool. Becky Eves writes, I would love to know if there are any tour plans which include Tassie. Festival was absolutely the best concert in Launceston. My question is, with the recent events and everyone staying home, it's a double barrel question. Let's answer the first one first. Yes, we actually did have some plans already to tour the country in October of this year.
Can I say Festival was actually like in my top 5 Eskimo Joe gigs ever.
All time.
Why was that, Joel?
Just every now and again, like the magic happens between the 5 people on stage and the audience, and you can't quantify why, and you don't know why, but that night it just happened. And it's actually quite rare that it all collides in that way at the same time. So that was a magic show.
I do remember getting off stage and having a group hug after we got off stage, which is a very rare thing for 5 grown men to do.
It is.
Yeah, that meant
it was warranted.
It was warranted, yes.
Agreed. There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. Joel Quartermain. But we will be touring probably, I'd say, around the second quarter of next year, I'd say.
Just like May, June next year.
May, June next year. And I would love to have Lonnie back on the tour list.
The menu.
Back on the menu, yeah. I love Tasmania in general. It's awesome. But the second part of that question, did you find, with the recent events and everyone staying home, did you guys find it created more inspiration than usual spending time with the family or by yourself at home with quiet to write and develop song ideas without the constant demands that come with busy lives? Or do you find it more inspirational when traveling Australia and overseas?
I feel like that's a bit of a column A and column B question there. I at the very beginning of the COVID lockdown, I just got back from LA and I actually got a fever and was quarantined in my room, and the fever lasted for about a day and a half. And in Western Australia, they weren't actually testing for COVID at that point in time. And so I I may have had COVID for all I know, but one of the good things that happened that week is I had all these half-finished song ideas, and I was, it lasted a day and a half, and the rest of the week I just spent on the piano and putting out a bunch of ideas. And, we in Eskimo Joe, we share these ideas, and obviously Joel's in Melbourne, so it's hard to sit down and just write a song in real time. But I think definitely some really good ideas came out of that time of isolation and just being at home and having to stop and, you get time to reflect. But then being on the road, so many stories and things happen, and it's very hard to write on the road, but you get filled with inspiration, and then you get home and you get to kind of then channel that into a song.
Okay, I might just say a quick couple of hellos. The first one is Cooper Elliott.
Oh, hi Cooper.
Hi Cooper.
Cooper the dude.
He's a dude. But I would also like to say we have, oh, look, they're all coming in so fast. I can't keep up. Drozzles, stop it. We've got Lisa Huntley. Brett Rowe says, yes, up.
Yes, up.
Tanya Carroll, Shane Suzanne, Sarah Elizabeth. It's horrible to hear about the fever. Hope you're all right. Thank you.
I lived.
Hello from San Francisco. That's great.
I left my love in San Francisco.
We also have a hello from the Netherlands, which is amazing. There's a person called Sky Beer. That's winning in the name department. Courtney Law, Alice Reed. Any comments on J.K. Rowling's Twitter noise? I'm not sure what that is. If it's trolling, if it's trolling Trump, then I'm for it.
It's no, it's a much deeper thing that we probably shouldn't get into today.
Okay, fair enough. Look, let's. There's too many hellos to get into right now, but we'll keep going. The next question is Michelle Gale. First saw EJ in 2006 at Theberton Theatre. Love the Thebby. There's no actual question, just loves everything. And you were involved in crowdfunding the last album. Thank you very much. Cooper Elliott, here we go.
Well,
Brackets top fan. I am so excited for the song and a live stream. Got 3 questions for you boys. How come Cav never uses his black Ernie Ball Music Man bass anymore?
Well, I guess I started playing this certain style of bass, which is called a Warwick, and they make a particular bass, which is this slightly hollow body bass, and it's just got a bit of a sound that we're into now more than back then. The Ernie Ball Music Man has a very particular, very 90s kind of sound to it.
Very hi-fi.
Very hi-fi. So super great bass. Still have it. Maybe we'll put it in a museum someday.
I think for me personally, the Warwick has like the perfect blend of like a round, woody kind of old school 60s, 70s sound, but also like a little bit of a hi-fi top end that cuts through live as well.
The only thing about the Warwick basses is that all of the other Warwick basses look shit. This one looks great.
Sorry, Warwick.
Thanks, Warwick.
Sponsor.
Good sponsors.
Have we ever thought of bringing back the emo hair?
Every day.
Well, actually, my children hassle me out on a regular basis and say that my hair looked a lot cooler when I had the emo hair, and they keep trying to convince me. I'm not going to do it though.
Joel, what are you drinking?
Chardonnay.
A Chardonnay.
Delightful.
With my dad, this is from Lewis York. With my dad, Subiaco Oval, halftime, smell of chips and beer in the stadium. Fremantle up by 20 points. Pav kicked 5. The song New York comes on. These are my favourite memories. That's a great memory. Thank you, Lewis.
It's a quintessential West Australian moment.
All right. And the third question from Cooper is, where did Cav get his iconic dance moves on stage?
Well, I look back at photos and footage of us when we were much younger, and I didn't do many dance moves on stage at all. So they definitely evolved over time. I think, you try, when you do a big long tour, you try out a few moves, and sometimes they feel a bit silly, and then, they kind of evolve. And by the end of the tour, you've got some moves down pat. I definitely think it makes a gig a lot more fun when you get to move around and jump around like a crazy person. I know it's cooler sometimes just to be the dude on stage, just, keeping it cool. But I personally get more out of it if I jump around and have fun. And why not dance on stage? So I don't know where the iconic dance moves came from, but they've definitely just evolved over time. Maybe the other guys can answer that question better than myself.
Jolsey, have you pinched any moves from someone?
Yeah, Cav.
Which one?
I think this when we had the glow in the dark skeleton look, that was where the dance moves peaked.
They were
on the Wastelands tour.
Yeah.
The sidestep. Yep, that's the one.
It was that kind of record. The dance moves had to follow the music. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think I stole 90% of my repertoire from Davey Lane. That's it.
Right. He's your dance instructor. He could do imagine him teaching a dance class.
I'd pay money for that.
That'd be great.
Definitely. All right. Nikki White, brackets, top fan. I'm wondering if we put these in. Our management put them in for us. We know who these people are. It's all good. Will you ever be releasing the recording from your Melbourne show at Ormond Town Hall?
Oh, the acoustic winter warmer tour.
Yep. Did we?
Short answer, probably not.
Probably. Look, the long answer is we've recorded a lot of our gigs and we put a lot of effort into it and we're like, yes, we did it. And then it just sits on a hard drive. But, that's what hard drives are for, I guess. So that one day you can look back and go, either, yes, we can release this now because everyone wants more content, or the hard drive's muffed and we can't use anything.
Funny story is when we were putting together all of these, re-releases of our records, we went through and all our hard drives and got all of the old demos that we were doing, and they came out on the digital releases. Anyway, we were listening in the car, and we were in Cairns, I think, and this song came on. I was like, "What's this?" And Stu had grabbed it from a hard drive because he'd listened to it and gone, "Oh yeah, that sounds cool. That can go on there." And what it was me coming home late at night and making up a song, pressing record and making up a song live. And it actually starts quite good.
That's why, because I literally just listened to the first minute and I'm like,
first minute's great, but then I'm just repeating myself and I start to slur my, there was a whole era, pre-children possibly, where I would come home from the pub and just be like, I'm going to record a song, and I'd press record. And anyway, that made it onto the rarities. So maybe we can turn that into a song one day.
Here's a good one. Mirjam Adalar has just written, this one's for Joel. I heard he is producing for other musicians. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, I can. At the moment, like I was just saying to the guys, I'm making some music with Client Liaison, which is fun because they're kind of like a concept band. So it's you have to step into their world, and it's a wacky world, and it's fun because that they decide like what songs they're going to release on how they're going to market their tour. Like, so if there's a hook to it, it's like they write their songs as movies, and they write the film clip as they're writing the song, kind of thing. So that's been great fun. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. It's awesome.
Super cool.
All right, Daniel Brockhoff. This is digging a little deeper here. All right. It's been 7 years since the release of Wastelands, where you left the producing to someone else, who was actually Burke Reed, an absolute champion, ex-Girling. Do you feel your lack of overall control of the album and your shift away from your own sound made the album less of a success than your other albums?
Yeah, it was all Burke's fault.
He's totally stuffed it up. No, look, for me personally, that was pretty interesting time actually having a producer after self-producing a couple of records. I thought Burke brought an amazing energy into the studio and a new sense of how to approach the songwriting process, and also the production process. I found his kind of mad professor approach to finding a vibe was interesting. Like, he had a big pedal board and all these different pedals plugged in, and we'd put a sound through it, and he'd just sit there hitting things, and he'd go, keep playing, man, keep playing. And he'd hit all these buttons until he's like, yes, this is the sound.
And then he'd mute that sound. And then he basically he collected as much musical information off us as possible, and then put it together after we finish making the record. So when we finish making
do it, I reckon it's like a girling way to do it, like electronic kind of way to do it, I guess.
So when we'd finish recording, people would say, "Oh, what does a record sound like?" And I was like, "I have no idea at this point." But then he went home and put it together, and out of all the stuff that he collected, and it sounded great. Like I think we all love that record.
There's actually some of my favorite Eskimo Joe moments on it, like the opening track, "Running Out of Needs." I still one of my favorite things we've ever done. When we went in to record that record as well, I do remember we were having a conversation because we'd actually sat down and decided we were going to have a bit of a sabbatical after that record. We said, let's do one last record and let's just get really experimental with it, and then take a break, and then we can come back. And it's 7 years later, so here we are.
Matt Elizio, I'd love to see you play here in the US. Do you plan on doing a tour here anytime soon? The short answer is definitely not. Phase 3 restrictions still see the WA border closed, so the chances of getting to the US are very slight at this point. But look, moving forward, we have no real plans to tour internationally. But if you
can get enough people together, we'll be there in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
We'd love to play a show in the US again.
Yeah, some of my fondest memories of Eskimo Joe are touring internationally. There's something really exciting about it. Those were exciting years, it's always exciting going to a new town and playing a new venue. But when that venue and that town is in a different country with a different culture and different people, that's really exciting. And playing to different crowds, you're not quite sure what to expect. Like rocking up in Seoul in South Korea, you have no preconceived idea of what the crowd's going to be like. So it's always pretty exciting.
Well, there's all kinds of questions coming up.
All right. Shabrock, I'm sorry if this is your real name, but it can't be. Shabrock McGurkenfarkle says,
Sorry.
I'm really sorry if that's your real name. Shabrock McGurkenfarkle says, any chance of a live album on vinyl or a singles collection on vinyl?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think a singles collection on vinyl is probably more realistic. A live album would be amazing. We just have to record it first.
We've recorded many.
Oh, we have actually, yeah.
So who knows? It could be equally as possible in the near future. What is the inspiration of the song Ghosts of the Past? Such a powerful song off my all-time favorite album from my all-time favorite band. Thank you, James Hamilton.
The Ghosts of the Past were meant to represent the ghosts of our ex-girlfriends, or more specifically my ex-girlfriend, I think. But that was a melodic idea that Joel first came up with when we were writing the record, with the ooh bit. Yes, it quickly turned into a story about me revisiting all of my ex-girlfriends, like you do, go over these things in your head, try to evolve as a human and work out where it all went wrong.
The movie High Fidelity is watch that. Yeah.
That's a good example in celluloid form.
Funnily enough, I remember I was in the jam room trying to write a song that was pretty much the same song as Wolf Like Me by
TV on the Radio.
And Joel came in and was like, that bit's cool. And he turned that into the little descending guitar line.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. I mean, and that's classic. That's a classic way that bands put records together. The really exciting thing when you make a record as opposed to just writing a song is that those moments happen, because you're not only just going, okay, we're working on this one song, but those serendipitous moments happen where you've got about 4 or 5 songs on the go at the same time. And then someone goes, oh yeah, cool, I'll take that and put that into there. And then someone injects a storyline. And then, the next thing you know, you have a really, really interesting song like Ghost of the Past, which became the title track of the record, which is cool.
All right, this is from Crystal Rugrock. As a band, you guys have achieved so many different things. For each of you, what felt like the biggest success or most glorious moment? Chelsea.
The biggest success. I guess like when we'd finished recording the Black Fingernails Red Wine record and we sat down and listened to all those songs in a row because we had such, I think we had a really like clear plan about what we wanted to do and the kind of record that we wanted to make. And then we spent, 8 months demoing, writing, and then went in and recorded it. And it was one of those times where the plan actually comes to fruition and you get to hear it coming out of the speakers and you're like, oh, this is what we meant to do. And we felt like we nailed it. And I think that's, that was probably the peak for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was such a moment in time where, like you said, everyone seemed to be pulling in the same direction, which is not what always happens on record. And so sometimes that tension can be one of the things that makes records great. But also when you have a whole lot of people who all are on the same page, that also makes a great record. And we had a really fortunate situation where we'd just come out of contract, I think, of our previous record deal. And yet we managed to record that record and have a #1 single before we'd actually signed on the dotted line for a brand new record. And so it was one of those moments in time where it just felt like, everything was going our way. So it was definitely a pretty special moment.
I think in general, those moments where you're recording an album and you have that kind of last day and you're listening back to everything you've done and you're generally a few beers in and everyone's feeling pretty happy, they're definitely highlights for me. I think just I don't know, you feel good about yourself, you feel good about the work that you've created, and it's ridiculously loud because generally the studios that you record in have really massive speakers, and you're just on a real high. Like there's no amount of drugs that can ever make that sort of high happen. There's something deeper than that.
It's interesting because most bands' highlights are probably when they've had the most people in front of them, and and ours is just us three in a room listening to ourselves at high volume. We're just like, yeah.
We always tell ourselves we're never going to do it, but we're not going to do it this time. We're not going to. And then about 5 minutes, we're like, we're geniuses. We're actually geniuses. This is the best thing I've ever heard.
That's about 12 beers in.
Yeah. I think in terms of like that live performance moments, there's a few gigs that stand out. And like Joel said previously, it's those moments where it's not really a describable thing that you can pinpoint. There's no one or two elements that come together. It's just everything works. The crowd is in the right headspace and really connected with each other and with us, and we're all having a good time on stage. You kind of forget that you have to actually play a gig, and you just play a gig, and you just enjoy it. And so there's a couple of gigs that stand out. There was the festival in Launceston. There was that we did a Clipsal 500 gig in Adelaide with UMI, and that was just epically huge. There was about 20
sound relief as well. Hey, Stu.
Yeah, sound relief. Just the scale of it.
Usually with the gigs that are amazing, there's some technical glitch that we stress about and then it gets fixed. And I think the relief, like the like combination of the adrenaline from this is all going to fall apart to then it gets fixed and you feel this huge relief, but you're still adrenalized. Yeah. You can play like you're actually ahead of the time, like the Matrix or something. And you have those moments where you can actually like step outside yourself, look at your mates on stage and go, oh, I remember like meeting these guys 10 years ago. And you can actually play the gig and watch the gig unfold in front of you. That's a pretty magic thing. Yeah. And like you hear sports people talk about that they can like be ahead of the play kind of thing. And a couple of times on stage, I've felt that. And that sound relief one was a moment where you could actually look, there was 60,000 people, I think. And it was like, we had started 10 years before that. And it was like, wow, this is an amazing moment. I didn't see this coming 10 years ago, like
bit of an out of body experience.
This is magic. Yeah.
So to all of our friends who've just tuned in to our Facebook Live post, yes, we are Eskimo Joe. We are answering your questions. We're talking about, anything and everything, but also talking about the new song, Say Something, that's coming out soon, which you guys haven't heard yet, but we have, and we like it.
Andrew Eagleson, welcome to the feed. He writes, "Hey guys, quite a back catalogue now. Is there an album you hold close?" It's an interesting one because I think every album is kind of like a child. You like them for different reasons. You know, it's hard to pick a favorite child because they all have a different spot in your heart for different reasons, and they remind you of a different part of your life as well, a different time of your life. A lot of the time, your favorite album is the album you've just done. And if you want to get more philosophical, the best album is the one you're about to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, our first album, I still love the naivety and the innocence of that record. And the second record, I think we started to tap into something a bit deeper and learn a bit more about songwriting. And then the third record, obviously, that's when everything just clicked, everything worked, and we had a plan and it all worked. And we started touring internationally. The next record, we got to work with an international producer for the first time. That was a really interesting time for us, working with Gil Norton from Pixies and Foo Fighters fame. Pixies are one of all of our top sort of 10 bands of all time. So that was really exciting to work with him. And then after that, Ghost of the Past was just us trying to get back to our basics and do what we do, be us again, rather than have a producer tell us what we should be doing.
Hey, Stu, here's another question for you. Will we ever play Driver again?
Oh, love that song. Yeah, definitely.
That's a question from Nikki White.
Nikki White, she always asks that question.
So where do you guys feel that Say Something sits in the pantheon of Eskimo Joe?
I think that the really nice thing about Say Something is that, like Stu said, you know, you're always obsessed about the next album that you're writing or whatever. But we've just done this year of re-releasing all of our back catalogue on vinyl. And I think that's the first time since we recorded it that I've actually gone back and listened to a lot of those records. Because once you've recorded the record, you listen to it a couple of times, but you never really go back, oh, I might put on my record today. Whereas this song feels like just a really honest representation of everything that we've done so far, all kind of boiled down into one song. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I think for me personally, the album this song reminds me most of is probably Black Fingernails Red Wine. I think it has, I don't know, it has a lot of that melodic but dark intent. You know, there was a lot of piano work on that record. Joel's piano lines, awesome piano lines. They remind me of that work that he did on Black Fingernails, but also just the quiet, loud thing that we did a lot on that record. There's a lot of that happening on this song as well.
What's another question? What's a live question? Next question that comes up on the comments, we're going to answer. Okay,
right,
first.
Hang on. What can we expect for the Say Something album? Channeling early influences, or is a new sound altogether? Cover art is incredible. I think we pretty much just answered that, really. Sorry, Kirsten La, just
actually, we could say that maybe in Say Something, there's a little bit of Supertramp going on.
Yeah.
That's the first. That's a first for us, right?
Yeah, I think the original kind of imagining of the song had a very Supertramp vibe. But then Tame Impala, they released the Supertramp song, so we kind of had to deviate from that.
I think it sounds like 90s shoegazer indie kids trying to write a Toto song.
Nice. That's sick.
Aiden Lambie is making tacos. Do we want some? Maybe later. Claire Ormiston says, are there songs you will never play again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's some songs that we kind of grew out of and we just don't like playing. There's some songs that don't really fit with our overall sound anymore. A lot of our early work, it just sounds a bit weird.
Let me tell you a story.
Oh,
a little while ago, we got invited to play with what started off with the West Australian Symphony Orchestra, and all these amazing composers had come in to like reinterpret, our songs. And for some reason, I got outvoted in the band to bring Sweater back in. And I was like, I'm not opposed to ever playing Sweater again, but the one time we have a symphony orchestra, everyone's like, this would be a great chance to play Sweater again.
I didn't vote for that.
No. I think you just didn't read the email. Like,
well, we got on stage and to do the first rehearsal, and they're like, "Okay, now we're going to do Sweater," and I was like, "What?" It was like a nightmare.
I think
the funniest thing was Cav had to Google the lyric to sing it. That was classic.
So we got halfway through playing it, and we all unanimously went, "No, this is a terrible idea."
But look, there's also songs that we think are great and will work really well live, and we rehearse, and it just doesn't work. Like we've tried Running Out of Needs, God knows how many times.
We're still going to make that work.
Are we?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes. When we do our own tour sometime next year, we will play Running Out of Needs, and I reckon we're going to make it work.
Don't make any outlandish claims.
And we will play Sweater again.
We will.
We will.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. It's got to be the right scenario.
I think everyone remembers the chorus, but no one remembers the verses.
It's kind of like,
including you.
I think it's kind of like going back and watching one of your early childhood movies again. Like I watched Highlander recently, and I'm like, this is actually a really shit movie. So maybe that'll be the experience that everyone has, and they'll stop asking us to play it again.
There can be only one.
All right, Leanne Murdoch, I would like to ask, how do you get inspired to write new music when you've had so many past fantastic songs / music?
I reckon the best way to describe songwriting to someone who doesn't write songs on a regular basis is it's like you've got a constant conversation going in your head, and you're just tapping into that conversation and writing it down on a page. And I do think that there is, a little bit of right place, right time with a hit single. But I do think as well, the old fishing analogy always comes to mind. If you just keep throwing a hook in the water, then out of the 20 fish that you pull out, one of them you're going to take home with you.
Stupid fish. Kelly Armstrong, like your comment, some mega fans will know all the words.
Good. Well, that could get around that one. Yep. I'll be like, who wants to sing this song?
Kelly Armstrong is the first and only recipient of the Eskimo Joe golden ticket.
She is the number one ticket holder for the Frio Eskimos.
Nick Kearton, being such old friends and now living on opposite sides of the country, is it particularly enjoyable to play shows these days as a chance to hang out? It is. It really is.
I would say correct, Nick.
I think being in a band for this long, the relationship you have with each other is very much like brothers. It's very much like a cross between a marriage and brotherhood. And so there are moments, on in the studio, on the road, that there's friction. We're generally pretty good though, but when you get on stage and you play with each other, there's just, I don't know, it all goes out of the window and you just enjoy it. And that's,
I think, it's the best it's been at any point.
I think so.
The camaraderie is exactly. I mean, we don't live together, but it's great. And when we get together now, we get to share news. We haven't seen each other. It's like we were living in each other's pockets for 17 years. So it's like, it's really great to connect now and fly to the same place. And we've all got news and things to catch up on. It's good fun.
One thing I find interesting is that when you first start a band, you've all got varying music taste, and that all kind of diverges the more you spend time with each other on the road and you're all listening and vibing on the same music. But then you spend a couple of years apart and you come back and you're like, oh, check this out. And two of the people in the band might be like, eh. And then you'd be like, okay, what do you got? And they'll show you something. You're like, eh. So it's interesting how far our musical tastes have diverged. We can obviously all agree that a good song is a good song, but there's, we've all, explored other avenues, which is interesting.
We all bring our own herbs and spices to the mix.
Indeed. All right. Chris Polk says, any band or artist you would like to do a song with? That's a good one.
Lizzo.
Oh,
yeah. How good would it be doing a song with Lizzo? Come on. No agreement whatsoever. She's the best.
I don't even know who she is, to be honest.
What?
No.
Are you serious?
No, I don't.
She's excellent, man. Check her out.
I would like to do a song with Agnes Obel, actually. I think
That'd be
she's
exciting.
phenomenal Welsh artist and just a very ethereal songwriter with some, I don't know, she writes deceptively complex tunes that, I'd really love to get my head around.
Joel?
I think for me, it's Ainsley Wills,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
like a Melbourne artist. And she's like, she should be the biggest artist in the world because she's that good.
I've tried to be friends with Ainsley Wills so many times and she always runs the other direction. I'm serious. I'm like, hey,
I'd be so nervous. Yeah, I'd be so nervous to speak to her because she's just incredible. It's just...
We've got a lot of love for the Lizzo factor.
Yes.
So, everyone would love to see that happen.
That's good because she's my neighbor. I'll ask her.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Yeah.
No worries, man.
Christian Johansson Perry has asked what it was like working with Burke Reed. We did touch on that earlier, but I'll just double up on the fact that we think he's a legend. He did some amazing stuff with the music and took us places we literally would never have gone. We only actually mic'd up a guitar once for that entire album. And it was actually a little bit of a bittersweet thing, miking up a guitar. We wanted to make a whole album without actually miking a guitar up.
And then we got to the end of the process and we're like, wouldn't it be good if we put a few more guitars on the record?
Yeah, he took us way out of our comfort zone and removed the Eskimo safety net. And it was awesome timing for that.
Yeah. You got to do that. Otherwise you get stale and turn.
I remember halfway through, he's like, we were hanging out in the studio and he was like, play me something that you guys have recorded like recently, one of your, popular singles or whatever. And I think I put on Foreign Land or something. And he was just like, whoa, what we're making is 1 billion miles from this. Like your fans are going to be pissed, man. And it was like,
I love it that he didn't even bother listening to that before he walked into the studio.
Yeah,
sure. With you.
I think one of my favorite things about Burke was he straight up told us, he's like, you know what, I got approached to do the Eskies and I was like, nah, I don't like him at all. But then I heard your demos, I was like, yeah, I like this. So it wasn't a preconceived notion of I like this band and what they do. It was just based purely on the songs he had to work with, which I thought was great.
So for all of you friends of the Eskimos who are joining us, we are doing a live stream. Obviously, we're answering as many questions as we can in the time that we have, and kind of talking a little bit about our new song, Say Something, as well. We've probably got about 6 minutes left up our sleeves.
It might be a good time just to talk about the new song.
Well, it's 6 minutes of that. If anyone wants to ask us any questions because they haven't heard the song, but we can Say Something. It's a really interesting tune because we wrote it a while ago and we couldn't have predicted all of the craziness that's happening in the world right now. But the song was originally inspired by what was going on with a lot of the kids, helping out with the climate change protests that were going on. And there was no adults who were really contributing, and it was obviously getting to a tipping point in the world. So we recorded that song, and that was the beginning of it. That was the inspiration. But really what the song became was more of a statement of just to say something, to act without prejudice and, to be kind and humane to our fellow humans. And we've never really written a song like this before. We generally write songs about social and emotional politics, but this is the first time we've just written a song about politics.
All right, Louise Trevord says, I'm 6 years old. My name is Samadhi. When will you do an all ages again, like at the tennis?
Oh, written by my mummy. Well, we would love to do as many of those kind of gigs as we can. They don't always come up, but knowing that we've got a 6-year-old fan in Melbourne means that we will push to do another all ages show next summer in Melbourne. So we hope to see you there on someone's shoulders singing along.
Lisa Huntley said, can we get a sneak preview of the new song for the top fans?
Yeah, sure. We're just going to press play right now. Just joking. Maybe I'll get a guitar and play. No, we got told that we weren't allowed to play it.
But look, I think we might be able to squeeze something out of management in the next couple of days. So keep your ears to the ground. Who is Sarah written about? Funnily enough, it's a girl called Sarah.
A friend of mine
Thank
called
you,
Sarah.
Alison.
Yep.
Mary Smith.
Yep. That song was kind of written at the tail end of the of A Song As a City, and we were still writing about our friends, and when you're in your early 20s before you have children, your friends are your family, and Sarah was definitely a part of our kind of friend family group in Fremantle, and that every time I see her now I still say Sarah, and she's really over it. So
my beautiful partner Sarah still swears it's about her.
Yeah, it was about Sarah, your partner.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple of ones. Perry Campbell says, footy started. How long are you here for? Not as long as a footy match. So maybe you come back after quarter time and check back in with us. Frank Verasso, good to hear that name again. Stu, is that beard of yours ever coming off your face? There's an interesting story behind that. A few years back now, we participated in Movember. We were Movember ambassadors. But before I did it, I didn't realize we had to shave down completely to have zero facial and then grow a mustache over the course of a month. So we all did it, and it was, without a doubt, like the most hideous experience of my life.
I look so bad with a moustache.
Come on.
And one of the things that I need to explain to everyone is that there's no actual dark hairs on the top of my lip. It's like a polar bear trying to grow a moustache. So that wasn't very attractive either. So, but Stu, when he first grew his beard, I remember having a crisis meeting in the band, thinking that the band might be over because no one in music had a beard at that point in time.
I do remember that. You were like, you need to shave it off, buddy.
I was like, you can't.
If we're going to make,
is that for real?
Yeah.
I remember that. He's like, if we're going
Wow.
to Japan, Japanese people don't like beards.
What?
True story.
But like going back to November, I remember shaving it off, and then for the next week, because luckily my facial hair does grow fast, but for the next week before anything happened facially, I would walk past mirrors and freak the hell out because I didn't recognize who that person was. So I can honestly tell you, Frank, it's never going, unless I get alopecia or have to do chemotherapy, this hair is never leaving my face again.
Frank Verasso, I'm gonna put something in your mind that I think you need to contemplate. Beards are the push-up bra for men.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Leo Rolf. Oh, the Rolfster. This is one of my old school friends. One of our old school friends.
It's my friend as well. Hey, Leo.
Oh boy, did we have some good times. Good to see you still at it. I wonder if Cav, who inherited my favorite sweater on a night like this at his parents', still thinks of its woolly goodness.
I don't remember inheriting that sweater, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that is what I wrote the song Sweater about.
Yes. Scoop. Claire Ormiston said, just sing a little live.
Okay, ready?
A little.
Oh,
I just sung a little.
Oh,
live.
okay, there you go.
There you
go.
Yeah. I best grow a beard then, says Frank. Definitely. Honestly.
Frank, maybe you want to mention to the crowd what your wedding march was for your wedding when you walked down the aisle.
What was your wedding song, Frank?
I played it as an acoustic cover, but we shan't mention it tonight.
Okay, well, we're going to wait on that one. All right, Tammy Elizabeth Brady, will you do some gigs that include access for younger fans? I'd love to bring my 13-year-old son along. Look, we love playing all ages shows. There is some difficulty even pre-COVID regulations. With playing all ages shows in a licensed venue, it's very difficult. So putting on your own all ages shows is difficult. So generally we have to rely on larger productions that we're a part of. But every time we do an all ages show, it's always a buzz. I love playing to the younger crowd. So
if you can keep an eye out for any time we do those shows that are like, you know, council shows, like doing the tennis gigs or, you know, playing, you know, live community shows. We do quite a few of them and we love them. They're really good all ages shows to come to.
All right. Rodney O'Flynn, hello. He says, long time listener, first time concert recently. You guys put up the best concert I've been to. I'm now obsessed. How do you keep up the energy after so many years? Blood transfusions. Just lots of blood transfusions. It's just, I don't know. There's something exciting about playing live, and you know, you're a performer. That's your job, and you get out there, but it's an excitement factor. There's like,
I think it's the audience. It's the audience mainly. Hey, I think.
Look, some nights it's just not happening for you, and you really have to perform. You have to actually play a role on stage. But then, you know, most of the time you just walk out on stage and everyone's in the crowd and they're all cheering, and you're playing your music and you're looking at each other going, look at my life, what the hell? And it's exciting, you know.
It's also our only actual form of proper exercise. So COVID hasn't been exactly kind for us. It's just like... So we're looking forward to doing some shows and shedding some COVID pounds.
All right, we've got the answer to Frank Verasso's Walk Down the Aisle music. It was 9 Inch Nails. I'm sure the rest can be left to your imagination. There's really only one 9 Inch Nails song it could be then.
So, gang, we're going to probably sign off in a minute. We'd just like to leave you guys by saying thank you so much for all of your support over the years. I think we appreciate it now more than we ever have. We don't take it for granted. We know that there are many bands that you could support and you give us the love, and we really, really appreciate it. You're going to hear our new song sometime in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, the 26th it's released officially, but I think we're going to be releasing a little snippet of it soon. So just a little teaser. So keep your ears open for that.
Joel, have you got any final goodbyes for all the friends out there?
Goodbye, guys. It's amazing. Loved it. Like, this was actually good fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully we can, we'll do another one once the song's out and have another chat.
See you guys. Thank you so much.